everybody. Welcome again to another very special edition of One-on-One, a segment on Cannabis Coast to Coast News that we do every week when we introduce ourselves to people that may not be familiar with the Pro Cannabis Media Production Group. And I, of course, Jimmy Young, being the founder of PCMTV, I'm so happy to welcome in Emilie Lewis, who, by the way, your title is very impressive. Senior Vice President, Marketing, Audience, and Content Strategy.
Well, I appreciate the compliment. All that means is that I need a title that resonates, but let me tell you what I do. We do everything. We know in this industry, you've got to roll your sleeves up, you've got to get your hands dirty, and you've got to learn how to do it all, because the cannabis industry is all consuming, and there are so many different aspects that you have to navigate that you really just have to be able to switch hats very quickly and do it all. So great title. I love it. But what I do is anything and everything that anyone asks of me to make MJBiz the premier cannabis show and event and media organization every single year. That's what I do, whatever's asked.
19 and 21, I think, was the one with the masks. Was 21 the one where you had to wear masks? Yeah, I think it was.
9, yes. Coming out of COVID, yes.
Right. So those two I've been to. I haven't been able to travel the last 2 years. Now I'm traveling, and I'm looking forward to coming back. But I will tell you, I reviewed your schedule today. Okay? And I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, oh, my God, I want to go see that. Oh, I totally want to go to that. Wait, how am I going to do all this in one day? I mean, it is so overwhelming. And I also appreciate the fact the email you guys get sent out this week. Prepare for your trip.
Yes.
Prepare for how. Yes. So that's my first question, Emilie. Yes. Give me advice on how the hell I'm going to get to every one of these events, or at least be able to tell the story of the conference.
Yes. So first, I want to apologize because I understand that the conference schedule can bring on a headache because it is a lot. But we do that for a reason. MJBiz is really the only trade show where every single segment of this industry comes together. Most trade shows really concentrate on one section of the industry, whether it's cultivation and growing, or whether it's packaging and processing, or retail and brand, or science. We do it all. So with that, because our industry is so complex, there is a lot when it comes to the schedule. So back to your question, you asked me how to prepare. So the one thing I would say is, if you're new to MJBiz and you've never been, we have this amazing thing called our badge quiz. Now, I know we're all adults. We don't want to go back to school and be quizzed again. You're not getting graded.
I'm a teacher. I'm constantly teaching. Okay, go ahead.
I did know that. So I should have known you would like a quiz. But we do have a badge quiz, and all that does is it really just walks you through. It's a quick, simple few prompts of a question. What are you interested in? What are you looking to get out of the show? What segment of the industry are you in? And it will guide you through our, nice little algorithm to kind of tell you what type of badge you should be getting. Mm-hmm. And then within that, so say it takes you down the road and it's, you want a conference and expo badge because maybe you do want to meet some brands, you do want to pick up some new vendors, but you also really are interested in the educational side of it. It will actually give you prompts for the tracks within our conference program based on the questions that you've asked as to what tracks you should be attending. And so to break that down a little further, when I say tracks, we do have different tracks within our conference program. So you can find a business one-on-one track. There's a science track. You might be interested in marketing. You might be interested in regulatory or policy conversations. You can choose your own adventure, and that's the great thing about our conference. You can get a little bit of all of that. But if you do need direction, there are tracks on our website that are called out that if you really do want to go down one specific subject line, you really can organize your day that way.
Yeah. I've never been organized in my life. I'm ADHD and I'll never be organized. Many people have tried and failed, including both parents, I might add. That being said, when you're listing all this stuff, I'm like, how about all of the above? I'm interested in all of the above. And the reason is something you said, and I can't remember if I hit the record button before or after we said this, but I find this industry fascinating. There are
Yes.
so many elements to it. There is
Yeah.
the social justice aspect. There is
Yeah.
the botanical and science and research aspect. There's the medicinal aspect. I
Yes.
don't like the word recreational, but there's certainly an adult use tract as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that being said, I'm not quite sure where I'm going to start. However, being an old sportscaster, I did notice a few names.
I was
Carmelo
about to
Anthony, Al
say, we
Harrington,
got some
Eugene
sports.
Monroe, Ricky
Yes.
Williams. I mean, I'm like,
Yes.
this is great. And I love what those guys are doing. One of our
Yes.
shows that it's actually my favorite show on my network. It was hosted by Dave Briggs, who used to be
Okay.
on CNN and Fox, and he has the
Yeah.
Yahoo Afternoon Business. It's called The Conversation with Dave Briggs. And he
Okay.
interviewed Calvin Johnson and Gary
Yeah.
Payton and Paul Pierce and Ricky Williams and Amani
Yeah.
Toomer. And it's the fact that these guys that have success in sports want
Yes.
to impact the world through cannabis is
Yes.
perhaps the greatest thing for me, because after all, I went from talking about sports to talking about weed. I mean, I've
Yeah.
had a great life. That being said,
Yeah.
it must be great for you to be able to tap into that celebrity aspect of this. Am I right?
Yes. And you know what's interesting is I think most people would probably look at me and think, oh, she might not be a sports girly, but I actually have a background in sports too. I worked with the NBA for several years. I worked on MBA Con.
You know where
And
I live, right? You know I'm from Boston, right?
I do.
The home of
Well,
the Boston Celtics, the world champions, 18,
I,
not
you know,
17 like the Lakers. Don't go there. Don't go there with me.
the only thing that I can say to that is I'm just going to throw out a different sport, and I'm going to say Dodgers. So
Okay.
we'll just take it on baseball.
I hope you're enjoying Mookie Betts. Okay. Just remember who got him first. Okay. Anyway, and who traded him to you guys. Anyway, I'm glad.
We
But
could do that all day if you're
I
a sports
understand.
guy.
And I love that.
I
I love that, by the way.
I
This is great.
love sports. I
Yeah.
love it. It is just, there's no fanfare like it. And they're going to a sports game is fantastic. So for us, the team that, creates and produces MJBiz Con, when sports kept coming into our radar as a conversation this year, we all got really excited. I mean, just yesterday on a call with Gary Payton and getting Gary Payton on the floor to talk about, what he's doing. And then obviously, I mean, again, everyone knows Mello. Mello obviously is, now has a brand and in the industry and also has a media agency. Look, I think at the end of the day, the cannabis industry is starting to open its arms a little bit more than I've seen in the past few years to outside ancillary industries and or, other aspects coming into cannabis, as long as those people that are coming into cannabis are educating themselves and are doing something for the community. And I think that what we've tried to do at MJ Biz is we've tried to choose the players and the sports that are doing just that. That they're not just putting their name on a brand and have no affiliation with the brand or the plant in any way, shape, or form. They're actually advocating for the use of it in sports. They're advocating based on their personal experience. They're advocating based on their health and how they've seen the plant help them. And they're active in their companies. And so, again, kudos to people like Ricky Williams or Mello, who are doing things like that. And what better conversation than to sit and get to hear someone that you've respected in a game that you've respected for so many years talk about an industry that it's all blood, sweat, and tears. And they're telling us how amazing this industry is. It feels good sometimes to sit and hear that, because there's a lot of really tough journeys in this industry. So we're trying to add some positive light to some of those conversations and make it a little bit more exciting. I don't think that there's anything wrong with adding a little bit of celebrity. Again, with that caveat that we're putting people on a stage that really have a stake in the industry and are doing good for our industry.
Right. And I think these guys really want to give back to the
Yes.
world and
Yeah.
want to impact generational wealth, because they believe that they can help that, and they see an opportunity in cannabis. And
100%.
and I salute them all. I believe in social responsible capitalism. I always have. It's a term I
Yeah.
learned back in the 90s from two of the most influential people in my life. And it is something that I have embraced as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But let's go back to not only do you have the celebrities, but you have all the movers and shakers. You have Andrew
Oh
and
yeah.
Steve. You have Andrew and Steve D'Angelo. I saw that right
Yep.
away. I love the
Yep.
fact that they're brothers and they hang out together and they talk about it, which is great.
They're so
And
fun.
I've known Steve since September of 2019, and
Yep.
he actually announced the Last Prisoner Project on a live talk show that I hosted back in the fall
Amazing.
of 2019. Yep. Look, I met him in Jamaica at Cannex, and then 2 weeks later we had him on, and he goes, and I'm dedicating the rest of my life to get everybody who's been convicted of a cannabis crime out of jail. And I went, holy mac. I said, wow, that is huge. Good for you. Go. I mean, I'm still thrilled with all the success that they've had as well. Go back to some of the things that are going to be happening on the floor on the convention, because it is overwhelming. It is important to plan. You have already explained that you have different tracks to follow.
Yes.
And I know that was something that was introduced a few years ago, but now I think you've all embraced it. Is there anything else new that people might see this year at the show?
Yeah, so we really have spent the last 12 months working very diligently to add more, not only culture, I will beg to say culture, back to the show. But we've also really diligently tried to add more excitement on the expo floor itself. I think our conference programming is just out of sight. It's amazing. Like you said, we have everybody that's anybody in the industry, from, science to marketing to finance to we're even going to have a few straight from the DEA hearings on the 2nd that will be at MJBiz, the Friday of MJBiz, talking about what was said in that room. Now we know that it's the first, meeting. There's not going to be really anything that we know until January or February, but they're going to be in a room and they're going to hear things, and we're going to get a feeling from them of what they heard and what they're thinking. So that will be exciting. But when it comes to the expo floor, we have added quite a few things. Now, I will say, as a first timer, I'm going to give you a little hint. As a first timer, on Wednesday morning, which is the first morning that the expo floor opens, from 8 to 10. Now, look, I know, guys, we're in the cannabis industry. 8 a.m. is really early for some of you guys, but you can do it on the first day. You can do it. But from 8 to 10, we have what's called our first timers reception. All it is a space for those that work on the show, myself included, and a few of our other team members, to sit and tell you, if you're about to walk onto this floor, this is what you need to see. This is where you need to go. This is what's new. So we're giving you that insider tip of, these are all the new aspects. This is what you need to see. Don't miss this. This is how you walk the floor the best way, because it is a lot. It's overwhelming. But back to your question, we do have several new things. So we are, for the first time this year, we are working with Mario Guzman, who most people in our industry know his name. He is Sherbinsky's. He's one of the, he's the seed geneticist who is responsible for gelato. Okay. He is such an amazing, he and his partner Victorine with Voice of the Plant are bringing a section of the show called The Vault. So we are actually selling seeds on site, and we have about 15 geneticists from all across the globe. So Cincy from Europe, from Amsterdam, who is coming over to talk about how this plant starts and its inception and why that matters and what the difference in the genetics of seeds are. And I know this is a conversation that a lot of people that have been in the industry for years knows a lot, a lot of the conversations that are going to be had. But if you've been in the industry for a couple of years now, maybe this is something that you're not as familiar with, and how seeds are different, and what the genetics behind them, and what you can and can't do. So it's a really, really interesting part of the show. So that's one thing. We're also working with a good friend of yours at META, and we're producing a manufacturing and distributor pavilion. So if you are someone who has opened an operation in a state and you're trying to figure out how to take that across state lines, and you can't figure out all of the complexities of how to do that, this is your place. You can come meet manufacturers and distributors that can help you cross state lines. So that's really exciting. We're also bringing in, with Weed Maps, we have a retailer village where we're bringing in more brands to talk about what they do and what's new on the brand side of things and the retail side of things. We also have something that we've added called the Hub. And so the Hub is where we are doing our state takeovers. So I know that when most people think about MJBiz, they think of this big national trade show, because we are one of the largest globally, the largest cannabis trade shows, but we are breaking it down state by state. So no matter what state you're coming from, you can look at the times on our calendar and you make sure that you get to your state meetup. And what's going to happen is, I'll throw Florida out there because I think we're all still a little sad about what happened. But say you're coming from Florida and obviously you're discouraged. You are going to get to meet other Floridians, from regulatory and policymakers to associations to brands, that are doing amazing things in your state. You're going to get to hear from a few of those people on a panel, and then you're going to get time to network and talk about what matters for your state specifically and what you need to know. And again, it's how to create resources so that when you go back to your state, you have connections in a network that you guys can keep the conversation going past December and past MJBiz Con. So that's something that I'm really excited about as well. We have several other things that are exciting, from, the cast, some of the cast from Reefer Madness that's going to be on site doing signings, and we have the fun stuff, but there's so many things on the expo floor, no matter what walk of the industry you're coming from, that educationally you need to know and you need to be there, and it will help you, again, create those conversations, have those networking abilities, and take MJBiz past 4 days. That's always our goal, is that, we want the industry to walk away from MJBiz and continue that conversation January, February, March throughout the year.
Yeah, that's great. And as you know, over the years, some people look at that trade show or the floor and say, I've been there, I've done that. I'm just going to go for the parties, or we're going to have a meeting. We're just going to have a meeting in Vegas at the same time because we know all the movers and shakers are going to be at in the city at that time. So, and as far as you're concerned, as long as they're there for your trade show, you win. And these ancillary meetings and events are just part of the celebration.
Yeah, look, we're in this industry and we do this every day because we love the people in this industry and we want to have fun with everybody too. So we have several after hours things planned, and we support several after hours events that are happening. And this is what I'll say to that, Jimmy. I know that there are a lot of people that come to, what everyone's coined as the Super Bowl of cannabis, and they don't step foot inside MJBiz. What I want to know is why, and how can I change that for them? And so I tell anyone, I will give you my email. You can put it in the notes. Email me, tell me, hey, I come to MJBiz and I don't come to the trade show floor because X, Y, and Z, and let me try to work on it. Because again, we only get better together. We do not get better when we start breaking apart and creating factions within this industry that all are competing against each other. We only get better together. So I get that happens. And hey, I want those people to keep coming to Vegas at the end of the day. I want you to keep coming to Vegas and keep growing and keep being part of the industry. But I also want you to tell me why you don't come to MJBiz and give me a chance to work on that and the team a chance to work on that so we can get you back.
Right. And of course, Vegas is they're the kings of entertainment. You can throw a lot of different things at it. But one of the things that is part of it for cannabis is that it has probably more social clubs in its city than any other city in America right now, because all the people who are trying to figure out how to create it are scared. They don't want to make that decision. But Vegas, being Vegas, we're just going to do it and worry about it afterwards, which I love about that group. Is there anything at any other social clubs? And in fact, if I remember, isn't there a panel on social clubs? Am I right?
Yes. So we do have a panel on consumption lounges, which is a big conversation in the industry right now. I live in California, so it's not new to California. I was actually at the Cannabis Cafe in West Hollywood last night for an event, which was fantastic. It's just amazing to be around the industry where you can actually partake, you can enjoy the benefits of the plant, you can and have it in a great, beautiful setting. Out
Emilie,
in public.
that's called normalization.
Yeah, right,
And I'm more
right.
for normalization and acceptance than
Yes,
legalization, because legalization involves politicians and lawyers.
yes,
Okay, you
yes.
can't get around it.
Yes, I agree with that because it feels nice for it to feel normal to drive to an event, valet park if you want to, walk into a beautiful space and have a consumption lounge instead of going to a bar and grabbing a drink. Like, and you can do, if you want to go to a bar and grab a drink, great. But that's available. We need to normalize going to a beautiful space and being able to consume. And so that is definitely a conversation that we're going to have with some people that are doing it really well. There are several events at some of these consumption lounges across town as well. I will tell you, there's one in particular that we really, really love and support called Nuwu, that is actually on a reservation about 10
Yeah.
miles from the strip. It's super easy to get to. It is a beautiful space. And the group that runs that are a amazing set of humans. And so there's several events happening there and a few that we're, putting our MJBiz name on that we're collaborating with. But, you can anything from Thrive, which is another great consumption space, to Planet 13, which also has a consumption space. We're doing an event there as well. They're everywhere across the city. So I urge people to go check them out and see the differences. And the thing I will say is we've done tours of these. They're all very different and they all have their own personality. So no matter what personality you are in the cannabis industry, you're going to find one you like.
There you go. And I have a
Yeah.
personality, that's for sure. And I know, by the way, I'm easy to please. I give good audience. That's what I tell people too. I'm great. I'll laugh at anything and I'll talk to people who I don't know. And I'm very, very, unfortunately, too self-aware sometimes. But that's another story. I do want, in closing, because we've had a great conversation and I love that. What is something that if you were new to the convention going to Vegas for the first time, what's a can't miss thing that you would suggest? Go to this booth or make sure you listen to this speech by so-and-so or whatever that you think it's like, this is what MJBiz Con is all about.
Oh, okay. And I know we talked about this earlier, but
Yep.
that's a really good question.
Oh, see, I got you.
Yeah, you got me. That is a really, really good question because it is really hard to narrow that down to one thing.
Okay.
But honestly, I think if I had to narrow it down to one thing, what matters to me the most about in-person events and why I've spent, a good majority of my career in in-person events is the sheer ability to have a conversation, a face-to-face conversation with another human.
Right.
Outside of this, and this is fantastic. Technology has made it possible so that you and I can be on separate coasts,
Right.
have this conversation. But we're all doing this so many times a day where we're seeing people in Zoom boxes
Oh, yeah.
that if I were to say, I would honestly not miss your state takeover. Because I think that it's really important to meet people in your state. And I say this for cannabis specifically because we are not a federally regulated industry and we are very state regulatory driven,
Mhm.
that your state, the issues you might be facing in one state are very different than the issues that someone might be facing in another state. And I think
Right.
it's really important to show up for the national regulatory conversations because we all want to know, now that Trump is in office, what we think is going to happen.
Right.
We're all wondering.
Right.
So that's important, but I still think the most important, show up at those state takeovers and make sure that you meet and you network with people that are in your own backyard so that you can actually figure out ways for boots on ground to do the work that needs to be done for your business and for your state. That's a hard one to answer because there's so many good ones, but I think that that's most important.
I think that's a great way to kind of segue into the wrap up here, because I've got 6 members of my Cannabis Coast to Coast news team going to the event. One is from Michigan, the Michigan Wheatsters. They are Amy Carter told me she's got 2 events already that she's on a panel for Michigan. So, and by the way, it's not lost on moi, a content producer, to have an open forum with other people from different states, because we do that every week. We share what's going on in each state in our program. And was my idea. I mean, every state has a different set of rules and regulations, and you can
Yeah.
learn from one state to the other. And
100%.
we'd like to think that the regulators have learned from each state too, but that's still a challenge for all of us to fight the rules
Yeah.
and regulations that really have put a really make it as difficult as possible. The mantra: survive to thrive.
Yes. I like that mantra. I
You
like
can
that
you can
mantra.
share it, steal it. I don't care. I don't.
Hey,
I'm gonna-
I might use it, but Jimmy, I'll give you credit.
I
I'm a marketer.
appreciate
I'm
that.
going to give you credit.
I'll take it. That's not why I did it. I do it because I care about the industry and the people in
Yeah.
it. And Emilie, lastly, one of the reasons why I do what I do. How many people have you met in your life? California girl, okay?
Mhm.
Cannabis saved my life. Cannabis changed my life.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Man, and
And
we're right.
it's personal. It's personal for everybody. I mean, I personally, I have a personal story about my father and cancer, and
Right.
we all have a personal story. Whether it's a friend, a family member, but the plant does miracles for so many people. And again, to back to your point of, I loved what you said earlier. I want to normalize it. I
Right.
want to normalize it.
Accept it. It's
Yeah.
look, I'm
Yeah.
67 years old, Emilie. Okay. It's been part of my life for a majority of those 67 years. And I
Yeah.
preach responsible use.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's all about education. And again, I love there was a new in fact, I think I saw a federal grant of like $9 million by some healthcare group in the United States that's now going to try and explain that we need to lead with education instead of just say no. Change the narrative, accept that it's here and learn about it. And if it's not for you, that's okay too. But the industry, as you know, faces censorship at the social media level, and it's one of the most frustrating things. And it's another reason why I want to make sure that we survive somehow, some way, because we want to give the educational side of things to people. Let them know what it's like to try it for the first time, and also I recognize that too much of a good thing is bad. So learn it, learn your limits. Hey, I bet at some point in your life, Emilie, like I did, I learned how to hold my liquor, right? Or try to explain why after 3 beers, when the age limit was 18 back in the day when I grew up, I would get sick on 3 beers, and it took me 20 years later to realize that I'm allergic to hops.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I didn't know that. I was just getting abuse from all my peers at age 15. You can't hold your beer, man. What the hell's the matter with you? Right?
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm going to go over here and roll a joint. But I mean, that was that's how it was back in the 70s. And I'll tell you one more thing about the 70s. Okay. Richard Nixon was not one of my favorites growing up. Okay. Needless to say, I was influenced by the anti-war movement. I was a rebel. I'm from Massachusetts. Fill in the blanks. Call me whatever you want. Label me whatever you want.
I just want to see pictures. That's it. I just want to see some pictures of that era. I'm interested.
When I was 12, 14, 15? Oh, no, I had really long hair. Okay. But I was an athlete. I was an athlete.
Okay.
Damn good. I still think I was a good soccer player, and I coached for 35 years. So I must have done something right.
Yeah.
But forget me, Emilie, this has been a pleasure this is what I like. Yeah. Zoom, you're right. But I can't wait to see all those people that are going to the event from my news team. All Zoom friends. I've never seen them in 3D. I don't know how tall anybody is. I don't know how small anybody is. I don't know what, there's no 3D component here. So it's going to be a lot of fun to just get together with everybody again. And I'm hoping now I'm going to be able to actually assign the team to different events so we can cover as much as possible, because you may not know this, but I am putting together a special that I'm hoping will be ready on that Monday.
Amazing.
Well, it'll be amazing if I pull it off, and I will, because I have nothing else to do after the show but to put this show together. And I look forward to doing it, because it is really it's a labor of love for me at this point. It really is. And getting to meet people like you is great. Anything else you'd like to plug? Do you want to plug the website if you're going? Anything last words about MJBiz Con?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Jimmy, thank you for having me. It has absolutely been my pleasure. Even the conversation that we had before we started to hit record, I know it's been so fun. And again, this is why we do what we do, because the people in this industry are really phenomenal. Just so many phenomenal humans. I mean, I guess if I was to plug one last thing, I would just say, buy your tickets. You can go to MJBiz website. You can read through the conference schedule. You can look at forums. Schedule. We have an app. So once you buy your tickets, you'll have the ability to download the app. Use the app, because the app, you can plan, you can hit favorites, you can talk to people on the app. And I know that people don't start thinking about the event until like the day that, they're flying into Vegas and they're like, oh, I need to plan. But back up a few days and give yourself a day or two to plan, and you can do it all on the app. It's so easy.
Yeah.
So
and
definitely plan.
You caught me, because I started to plan for the interview. I didn't wait till next week. I did it now, for obvious reasons. Emilie Lewis, what a pleasure to talk with you. I look forward to seeing you in 3D, at the event, and seeing the whole new regime and everything. And we should probably give a shout out to Tess Woods, who put this together, who I think does a great job for you guys.
Tess is fantastic.
And you know what she's told me?
What?
She's the only one that's been there for 13 years. Did you know that?
She is one of the, as we call
originals.
Them, she's one of the OGs of MJBiz. She is such a wealth of knowledge, such a fantastic human to work alongside. And yes, we love Tess. And we love her knowledge of this industry and her passion for the industry, for sure.
Absolutely. She doesn't know it, but I'm going to ask her for an interview when I'm there. Shh, don't tell
Amazing.
her. I think I just let the whole world know. Anyway, hey, Emilie, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
And a reminder, folks, not only does MJBiz Con have an app, so does PCMTV now. Download it. You can get, you know what you'll find on that app? A history of the fight to end cannabis prohibition in our time, because it has the most watched news shows that we've produced over the last 3 years. And you can see all the different things that have happened in the news related to this movement that we're all part of. So for Emilie Lewis, I'm Jimmy Young, the founder of PCMTV. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
I think I messed up. Did you know there's a place that covers all the cannabis news you need? Welcome to Pro Cannabis Media, your go-to for all things cannabis. PCM is the CNBC of weed, bringing you the latest news and talk shows with a twist. We've got 16 state correspondents and multimedia journalists from around the US and Canada.
Hey everybody, it's Brandon Jones with Be Green Distribution with the Missouri Cannabis Report.
I'm Karen Black from Greenfinger Consulting with the Arizona Cannabis Report.
I'm Amy Carter from Michigan Weedsters.
Andrew Behringer here reporting from Washington, D.C.
Debbie Fazy with the Canadian Toke of the Week.
It all started back in 2018 when founder Jimmy Young kicked off the In the Weeds podcast. His mission? Documenting the fight to end cannabis prohibition. Fast forward to today and we've got Cannabis Coast to Coast with Elena Pinto, delivering the nation's only TV-style cannabis news show.
Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Cannabis Coast to Coast, PCMTV's weekly roundup of industry news from California to New York. I'm Elena Pinto.
As of August 2024, PCM has racked up over 1.2 million views and 14.5 million impressions on our YouTube channel. With 15,000 subscribers and growing, our reach is spreading like wildfire. PCM's website, YouTube, Rumble, Discord, Roku, Twitch, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and even our very own PCM TV app. Get your cannabis news fix with Pro Cannabis Media. We're here to keep you informed and entertained. Stay tuned and stay lifted.